The story begins all the way back in 2011. A computer science graduate named Eric Barone was struggling to find his place in the world. Despite his degree, he couldn't land a job in the industry, forcing him to work minimum wage as an usher at a local movie theater. Feeling his skills were atrophying, he decided to create a small game project to boost his resume. He was a massive fan of the classic Harvest Moon series, but he felt the franchise had lost its soul over the years. His plan was simple: create a modern, PC-exclusive tribute to the farming simulations he loved as a kid, finish it in 6 months, and use it to get a real job. But what started as a quick resume builder spiraled into one of the most obsessive development cycles in gaming history. Eric, working under the alias ConcernedApe, didn't just want to clone Harvest Moon. He wanted to fix it. He wanted to address every frustration he had with the genre, from the inventory management to the lack of depth in character relationships. And he decided to do it entirely alone. For the next 4 years, Eric Barone lived a life of self-imposed isolation. He worked 10 to 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, huddled over a computer in a small bedroom in Seattle. He wasn't just the programmer. He was the artist, the writer, the composer, and the sound designer. He wrote over 30,000 lines of dialogue and composed over 2 hours of original music. But this total control came at a brutal psychological cost. He was living off the meager salary of his girlfriend, Amber, and the pressure to contribute financially weighed heavily on him. He felt like a burden, a failure who was wasting his 20s on a pipe dream that might never sell. In interviews, he later admitted that he became a recluse, rarely leaving the house, obsessing over every single pixel. And I mean that literally. Over the course of development, he completely redid the game's pixel art multiple times. He would look at a character sprite he drew a year ago, decide it wasn't good enough, and scrap months of work to start over. This wasn't just development, it was perfectionism bordering on madness. The philosophy behind Stardew Valley is what separates it from the corporate farming sims that inspired it. While games like Farmville were designed to exploit players with microtransactions and time gating, Stardew Valley was built on a foundation of respect. It's a game that explicitly rejects the hustle culture of modern life. You inherit your grandfather's old farm to escape the soul-crushing Joja Corporation, a narrative that ironically mirrored Eric's own desire to escape the corporate job market. The game doesn't punish you for playing slowly. If you miss a harvest, there's always next year. If you don't talk to a villager, they don't hate you. This design philosophy creates a sense of living rather than winning. Every mechanic, from fishing to mining, feeds into a core loop of relaxation and reward. It's a world where labor has tangible meaning, where you can see the direct result of your hard work in the growing crops and the repairing community center. It was a digital escape that Eric was building for himself, hoping that maybe, just maybe, a few other people would want to escape there too. By 2015, the game was massive, far larger than the simple clone he originally envisioned. He partnered with a publisher, Chucklefish, solely to handle the business side so he could focus on finishing the code. Finally, on February 26, 2016, Stardew Valley was released. Eric later recalled sitting at his computer, hands shaking, terrified that the game would crash or that players would hate it. He was prepared for anything, except for what actually happened. The game didn't just sell, it exploded. It sold over 400,000 copies in 2 weeks. It became a global phenomenon, critically acclaimed as a masterpiece that surpassed the very games it paid homage to. Suddenly, the struggling theater usher was a multi-millionaire. But in true Stardew Valley fashion, Eric didn't buy a yacht or disappear. He went right back to work. He spent the next several years releasing massive, free updates, adding multiplayer, new islands, and new events, content that other studios would have sold as paid DLC. Today, Stardew Valley has sold over 30 million copies across every conceivable platform. It stands as the ultimate rebuttal to the idea that you need a team of hundreds to make a AAA experience. But the real story here isn't about the sales figures or the money. It's about the vindication of a singular artistic vision. Eric Barone spent 4 years in a room battling doubt, anxiety, and the fear of failure, driven only by the belief that he could make something beautiful. He proved that if you pour enough soul into a project, people will notice. In an industry obsessed with live services and engagement metrics, Stardew Valley proves that sometimes players just want a quiet place to plant some parsnips. If you're currently tending your farm in Pelican Town, drop a comment about who you chose to marry and why. Until next time, keep farming.